Hi guys, I'm Dan and today I'm going to show you how to retouch your photos in Photoshop. First of all, what is retouching? Basically, the process of removing pimples, wrinkles, hairs and everything that your model may not like on their face, or you may not like on their face, or in your face, if that's your face. Doesn't matter, let's just jump right in Photoshop and let me show you how to do it. For today I got Darcy on my screen and you can go check her out, I'll leave her Insta somewhere on the screen. The first thing you gotta do is duplicate your layer twice, and you're doing that by pressing Ctrl J on your keyboard. And now by double clicking on the name, I'll rename the first one to skin and the second one to texture. By selecting the skin layer, I'm going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and choosing radius of 5 pixels. Then I'm going to the texture layer, I'm going to image, apply image, and here for layer I choose skin, I press the invert button, I already got my blending mode set to add, and then I choose 2 as my scale, and that's it. You press OK, and finally you change your blending mode to linear light. Where was it? Here it is. And as you see, it looks the same as the beginning, but if you check closely, you got 2 layers. Well, this one is the skin, or otherwise the color, and the other one is the texture. What I like to do is just duplicate my skin layer, press I for the color picker, and then select random point on the skin, it doesn't really matter. And then by clicking Shift F5 I'm opening the Fill tab, and I choose foreground color, which is the color that I've chosen in my color picker. I press OK and it fills my whole layer with the color that I've chosen. Then we need the healing brush tool, which is under J, but I had the patch tool selected, which we'll talk about later. I'm holding Alt and just pressing somewhere and then disabling the layer, and then I again select the skin layer, and what I basically did when I now click J, no matter where I press or how I press, is just soft brush. Most people just select a part of the skin and then use the part of the skin for softening the skin, but in my case I like to choose a solid layer because that makes it as soft as possible. The one thing that you should remember is to not just drag, you should tap, because otherwise it will create some weird results. And here I'm almost done with the forehead, and basically I'm done. The one thing that I forgot is that it would be nice if you put everything in a group, and basically you select everything and press Ctrl G and everything is a group. That makes it easier if you want to just see what you've done. And now you see that all the little imperfections are gone. The one thing you should know if you're working with Darcy is you definitely need to remove her eye bags. I mean, at first look you don't see them, but then if you look closer you instantly see them, and when you see them, that's the only thing you see, or at least in my case. In this particular case, it's pretty much easy to remove everything because her face and the color of her face is so flat because of the lighting. Okay, so what do you do when you have something like this? I don't know if it's a pimple or just the light, but what I'm going to do is select the color here of her nose. I got a new layer here. I'll do something like that, then just casually blur it. By pressing Ctrl U, you're opening the Hue Saturation tab, and here I want it a little bit more desaturated, a little bit more red, not that much, like that. By pressing Ctrl E, you're merging the layer you've selected with the one below it. By clicking S, you're choosing the clone stamp, and I will try to do it the best way possible. Okay, so it's done. Now I need to define a source again. Okay, and now we are continuing. As you see, it's not that hard. It's not hard though, it just takes time, and we're pretty much done. What I like to do is to soften out the hand because it looks dry and I don't like it. So basically what I do is just duplicating the skin layer, and now basically I remove everything. Okay, so now I just lower the opacity. So as you see, it's still there on the texture, but on the cover side it's not that much. I mean, it just looks better. Now we are left with the texture. What do we do? Again, we're choosing the healing brush by pressing J, and then by holding out you're defining a source, for example here, and it's gone. Every time I remove something, I define a new source, because with the texture it's not that simple as with the cover. By the way, if your model is wearing makeup, that will make things a little bit easier, because you have a little bit less work to do with the cover, but still you gotta do the texture. So even with makeup, you have to retouch it. Our big guy here. You don't want it to be perfect, so always leave some imperfections. And the last thing I'm gonna touch on is her belly. Basically what I'm doing with the skin part of the cover is to always flatten it as much as possible. That's at least the way I do it and I like it. Most of the time the texture is the one thing that you need to use for adding texture. Of course, what am I talking? You know what? Forget the last part. What I wanted to say is that when you add the texture back, even though you flatten everything, you still, as you see, it's not flat and it got texture. And oh god, I hope you understood what I said. I really like the fact that I've chosen this photo, because we have a hair going right through the eye, and if you don't know how to remove it, it could be a pain in the ass. I like to work with backups, so I'll duplicate my group just so I have a backup. We're selecting the texture, we're going to the healing tool, and then we're holding shift and pressing J once, so we switch to the patch tool. I'm making a selection, and then just holding and moving it around. That's it. Now we just gotta repeat, cause I see it's not perfect here. I don't recommend you to do this fully. I mean, selecting the whole hair here and just, I mean, sometimes it works, but most of the time it doesn't. Okay, we're done. This part is not hard, it's just so annoying. And when I see so much hair, it's like, can I just give it to someone? Okay, so we're almost where we don't want to be. Okay, so for this one I will merge everything together. For this you need to press Ctrl, Shift, Alt, E. I know it's a lot of keys. I'll use the clone stamp. And again, by pressing Alt, I'm defining a source. And we're done. The reason I chose the clone stamp for the eye is because sometimes one looks better, sometimes the other one looks better, and it really depends on the photo you're working on. Okay, let's see what we've done. Pretty nice if you ask me. There's one thing I don't like. Most of you right now are like, done? Seriously? Sorry, I'm a perfectionist, okay? That was it, guys. I hope it was helpful, I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me in the comments if you want part 2, where I'll show you how to remove harsh shadows and basically how to retouch photos that are shot in harsh sunlight, which is not recommended, by the way. Hit the like if you liked it, hit the dislike if you don't, subscribe, ring the bell. I'm done and I'll see you in the next one. Woohoo! That was nice. What am I doing? I just need to stop. Aperture MC. You need this thing.